And welcome back to Fresh Outlook, everybody. I'm TWB. So do you have friends who are well into their 30s and 40s who aren't married? I do. And are many of them living with roommates? That I don't have, but we'll talk about it. We're experiencing some major social shifts in American society. Let's take a look.
The numbers tell the story. In 1950, 22% of American adults were single, 4 million lived alone. Fast forward to today, more than 50% of American adults are single.
Don't wanna go back to hospitals, go back to syndication, go back. He stuck his finger in the peanut butter, so why am I? Thank you for being a friend.
Oh, good. There you go.
Meet Gail Waldeck, Sherry Vaughn, Lori Chiklinski, and Marianne Kilkenny. They're all baby boomers, divorced, and up until recently, total strangers.
There is one alternative, living in what is called co-housing. Communities where families of all ages live in a development of a couple dozen or more homes, cooking and eating together a few times a month in a common house, tending a communal garden together, and making decisions for the common good of the group.
Co-op housing is more than just a home. It kind of encourages everyone to be part of a larger community.
We all know each other. If I ever needed anything, I would just have to step outside my door.
Yeah, we were joking. We were looking at the 3 guys on the couch, you know, all roommates cohabitating. What's to blame? We say video games. Xbox is to blame. Why 40-year-old men are living together in groups of 5 or more.
But that's a real thing. I mean, you know, a lot of people, I'm a big tennis fan. I play a lot of tennis. I know Andy Murray broke up with his girlfriend Kim Sears because she said that, no, they're back together now.
Right.
But she was just like, you know, he only does is play video games all the time. I mean, it's an easy way for guys to bond with one another. It's fun. It's tacky. You can hang out in your sweatpants or whatever.
So we're joking, but I do think that does have an impact.
Video game culture, internet culture certainly has an impact on people living together and being single. I mean, it's a culture that allows for men especially to live in an individualized virtual world where they actually can communicate with people all around the world, but do it right from their living room. So
that's a poor excuse for sex. But what I want to say is
for guys who can't get women,
that's scary.
You know, what I observed among my 2 sons as they were growing up is that they actually developed the ability to have girls who were their friends. And there wasn't this rush into intimacy and relationship, which for someone of my age and my group, that's what we did. We got into relationships, and we you know, and we go from one marriage to another, whatever. That was an important part of our lives.
One marriage to
another. But are the so-called friends also more than friends?
But my kids' generations, that they can have girls as friends,
can they, though?
and they do their hookups and whatever. But on the other hand, this thing about intimacy, there's a terror. It is anathema to their lifestyle. I'm concerned about it. Actually, my oldest son is in a relationship. We're really happy.
Yay.
Nice going, Ben. Good job. My younger son is still kind of living that life, you know, on the West Coast, having a great time. But I am concerned about it. I think it's actually kind of morphing with the last topic for me. I think that's why there's the birth rate's
I like to think, I'd like to have some faith and say the reason that these men are living together, it's an economic factor, especially places like New York City where it's so, I mean, it's impossible to make
My aunt and uncle growing up were part of a co-op in that they have a big house in Newton, and that's a different structure. You want to talk about economic stuff, you want to talk about, you know, societal, you know, communing and establishing a sense of community. You know, they would trade chores and cooking and cleaning, and, you know, they would have, you know, daily, you know, evenings at the table.
3 Slavs living in an apartment.
Right, like there's some structure there, there's some intention to kind of, you know, not only save some money and have it work and have it be a community.
But when you keep doing that decades at a time, they just start to wonder about the kind of the wisdom of it all.
Maybe that's why the birth rate is plummeting. It's 4
to
5 men living together until they're 60.
Fortress Astoria, I mean, that is my worst nightmare. That article in the New York Times about those 4 guys living together for 18 years.
Yeah. Wow. Have you ever seen the show Entourage? I mean, that's Hollywood.
Sure. Their girlfriends tried to say, come and live with us and come and move out of here and come and be with me. And they were like, no, I want to stay with my homies.
Yeah. I had an apartment when I first got out of school and started my career. I was living on the, you know, on the cliffs of Weehawken, looking at Manhattan, going in every day. There's a 3-bedroom, second story of a, you know, multi-family house. Me and 2 buddies in that place. That apartment, I just found out recently, there are still 3 guys in that apartment, and they're descendants of, like when one guy, one of us, when that moved, then another buddy of ours or buddy of his came in, and they've kept a lineage. It's still 3 guys.
Wow.
That's a TV series.
It really is.
It's not a resident.
Yeah, all those years later.
But it seems like this is becoming the norm. Do you guys have a problem with that? I mean, this generation, that's what they're growing up with. Yeah, I'm 40. It's okay to have a roommate. I mean, is there a problem with it? I mean, I think there is.
The husband and father has a big problem with it. The guy who's not raising and got married late, no problem with it.
I'm a husband and father and don't have a big problem with it, though. I mean, I'm in terms of like civil liberties, I don't want government or policy hawks to intervene on how people are forming like their relationships, who they live with and how they do it. Changes in our economy, changes in reproductive rights, changes in demographics, all these things shape the decisions that people make as adults. I mean, if we're seeing a larger percentage of people living together, I mean, that's just probably a product of the combination of all those things.
And that's okay with you.
It is okay because the onus is on.
I say you got to grow up. I do have a problem with it.
Listen, our society needs to say that to those folks. You know what I mean? Or churches need to say it to them, or their jobs have to say it to them. I don't want the government to say it to them.
Right, you're saying it to them right now.
I'm saying act like an adult. I don't think 40 having 5 roommates. I don't think that's being.
But James said on something there. You know, we talk about what is it now that this is happening now. The loss of the church, the influence of the church and other societal institutions
moral
like
messages.
that. Your peers, when you came out of church and you checked in, and if you were straying from the straight and narrow, you heard about it. Now, you would never have somebody say, "Hey,
even you don't like the Xbox too much."
Even parental influence has been on a decline for quite some time in this culture. Latchkey kids raising themselves, their peers. Actually, as a teacher, I can say that the relationships that students were forming with one another as peers were far more powerful and influential than the relationships they had with their parents or with teachers. And I think that that's part of it too. They're kind of staying in that little subset, their little cultural group forever.
Well, I just emotionally, I don't think people are really growing up, and having children at a younger age forced them to do that. And some people don't want to look at their past and don't want to look at their issues, their deep issues that they need to look at, because it's very painful to do that. And as a consequence, they may say, I don't want to have children because I don't want to pass on whatever was done to me to my children. I think that's very responsible. I can respect and appreciate that. The other hand, I think that people could say, you know what, I'm going to plow through these emotional issues and I'm going to get to a place where I do feel whole. And then
we work out our own issues that we got in the way we were raised through what we're able to learn how to do properly with our own children. That's part of the healing of humans.
That's the last bite. The marriage rates at the divorce rate's at 50%. Marriage rates have gone down 20% since 1960. In my opinion, marriage is obsolete. Let's continue this next week, shall we?
Better find you a husband on Twitter.
Who says she's looking for one?
Tennis, Xbox.
I want a husband. All right, that's another show. All right, we're out of time. I want to thank my all-star panel for their fresh outlooks. James, Lee, and Francesca, and our special guest, Bill. Also, remember, if you have a fresh outlook, we want to hear about it. Check us out online. Are we on Xbox yet?
We could be.
Twitter, YouTube at Brew TV. I'm TWB, or the Twitterverse at TWBrill. Check me out. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Fresh Outlook. Check me out.
I do. I think a lot of people are still. I do. I think a lot of people are just not emotionally ready. But having kids early on kind of made you emotionally ready. No, you said it was economic. I think some people are not emotionally ready. But early on, having kids when you're doing it at 25 makes you kind of buck up and
absolutely.
you're bigger in ways
that something damaged about it.